Hi, this is Jim, the IO Tesla guy. Welcome back to the channel. A couple weeks back, I had an opportunity to speak with a very nice couple in the same town that I'm in. They reached out to me and said that they were purchasing a Model Y and had some questions and wanted to know if they could talk to me about it. I was happy to do so. And through that discussion, I found that there's some things that, even though I cover a lot of things on my channel and there's a lot of opportunities to pick up information on YouTube, one of the questions that stuck with me was, how do you road trip? How do you deal with the navigation? How do you deal with superchargers? And range anxiety is a real thing. And even being a Tesla owner for almost a year, even though my range anxiety is pretty much gone, I still plan everything out. And for those of you that have a Tesla, you probably already know this, but for those of you that either ordered a Tesla, waiting for your Tesla during that long wait, or you're just interested in Teslas and might not know how this works, is how do you road trip in this thing? How do you know where to stop? Do you have to do all the manual planning? Well, the answer is no. The car does 80% for you. It'll do 100% for you if you want it, but I'm going to give you some tips for faster road tripping, which will change how you use the nav a little bit, but you will 100% use the navigation system on the Tesla, but just in a slightly different way. So let's get to it. All right, for those of you that aren't familiar with the Tesla nav, this is your map, and the map is pretty much up there all the time. And if you want to plug in a place to go, you just click navigate, and you can use your voice, you can use the keyboard, you can use your recents. And I'm going to pick a place that I frequent often, which is Boulder, Colorado. I'm going to pick Boulder. You'll see the map expand out, and it will give me all of the stops that I need to stop at. The nav knows how much battery you have. Right now I have 87%. I charged it up for the weekend and I haven't gone anywhere yet. Still working on my safety score. And it knows where I'm at, and it knows where I want to go, which is Boulder. And it says you're going to need to drive west to Des Moines, over to Omaha, Grand Island, Gothenburg, Ogallala, Brush, Colorado, which is right there, and then your final destination is Boulder. And how long is it going to take you to get there? Well, at the very bottom, it's going to tell you it's going to take 14 hours and 13 minutes. Also, it will give you a recommendation on how long you're going to need to charge at each stop. And here it says 25 minutes, 40 minutes, 25 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 25 minutes. And that's how it arrives at your destination. Now, you can do this. You can follow the nav. You can do what it says, and you will get to where you're going. But I'm going to show you how to get to your destination faster and have you charge less time, but stop more frequently. And in my opinion, that gets you to where you need to go. So how do you get to where you need to go and get there faster and charge less? And I've covered this in part in previous videos, but I'm going to highlight it again. And it has to do with the charging curve of your battery. So what is a charging curve? Well, just like your cell phone, you have a battery in your car and it charges at a certain rate, but your cell phone likely charges at a more constant rate. Your Tesla does not. When you plug into a supercharger, it will charge at its maximum speed between 0% and about 50%, and over 50%, that actually starts to drop off quite a bit, and that time to get energy into your vehicle takes a lot longer and you slow down. The Tesla nav, in my opinion, favors fewer stops and longer stops, and it forces you to ride that upper end of the charging curve, and that's when you're charging the slowest. So my recommendation is stop more frequently and charge for less time. I've done this trip to Boulder and back, and I can tell you that I rarely ever have to charge for more than 15 minutes. We're stopping at nearly every supercharger, not quite all of them, but nearly all of them. we're stopping for 15 minutes, we're using the restroom, we're grabbing a quick drink or whatever. And I can tell you more often than not that the car is waiting on us as opposed to us waiting on the car. And you may stop up every hour and a half to 2 hours, but for me, given my age, I'm 51 years old, and it's the style that I like to drive, I'd like to get out and use the restroom and stretch my legs every couple of hours anyway. But actually, in my opinion, that will get you to your destination actually faster than the less frequent, longer charges. So let me show you how you would accomplish that using the Tesla Nav. All right, here's our same Boulder trip, and you can see that it wants us to go to Altoona and then go all the way to the Council Bluffs. But let's pull up the supercharger network here. And you can see that where I'm at in the Cedar Rapids area, we are, I can go to Iowa City, but I can actually make it to Altoona, which is fine. But it wants me to charge up a long time and go all the way to Omaha. But I know that there's a supercharger here in Shelby, Iowa, that we actually really like, and I've highlighted this particular supercharger stop on past videos. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to put into the nav that we're going to go to this supercharger. So we plugged in the one supercharger here that we want to go to, and it's going to navigate to us. We know we're going to Boulder, but we're actually going to tell it to go to that supercharger. Now, before we get to that supercharger, we're going to determine what's the next supercharger we want to go to. I can click this button down here in the corner, turn on superchargers, and here's the one in Shelby, Iowa. Now, just before we get to the one in Des Moines, I'm going ahead and change my destination to Shelby. And when you get there and you plug in, the car will tell you how much time you need to charge before you can leave to get to your next supercharger. Now, generally how the superchargers are spaced out, at least east-west across the country, you're going to be able to pick your next supercharger, and the amount of time you're going to need to charge is probably going to be under 15 minutes. And the key is to try to keep your car driving. You don't want to be charging above 50%, 55%. That's when your charge speed drops off. So if you're doing it this way and you're riding on the lower half of the battery, you can easily make it in a long-range Tesla to the next charging stop. What I do is it'll say, you're going to charge for 15 minutes, and I look at my destination, it says you're going to get there with X% of charge. And I usually, for me, try to hit 10 to 15% just as a buffer, because while the Tesla is really good at calculating how much battery you're going to use for distance, it's also really good at calculating altitude and hills. Like if you're up in the mountains, the Tesla is perfect for the mountains. What it can't deal with is temperature. And we all know that in low temperatures, your Tesla is less efficient, and it can't calculate or anticipate the effect of wind. And in my big road trip that I went on out west, we were going across Texas and into New Mexico, and the headwind was horrendous, and my efficiency was almost half, and it was really kind of a nail biter. We were losing an additional 5% of battery for every hour of driving. So we really needed to make sure we had a good buffer then. So that's why I've kind of learned that if the weather's decent and the wind seems to be normal, 10 to 15% is my safe zone. You may have your safe zone. So that's just a quick summary of how the navigation works in the Tesla. You can just literally get in your car, plug in a destination across country, hit go, and it will do all the work for you. If you want to make that a little bit more efficient and you want to maximize your charging speed and minimize your trips, try the technique that I had, which is staying on the lower half of the battery and doing the quick jumps from supercharger to supercharger, and that will, in my opinion, maximize your time getting to your destination as far as getting there in the shortest amount of time. So hopefully you found this quick video interesting. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. Even better, hit that like button. Those likes and subscribes really help drive the channel. So until the next video, we'll catch you later.